Good morning, everyone. Hopefully we are all hooked up here. Got a cup of coffee, a few lighters to fuel up. I was just watching a couple of the Professor's Garages videos. Hopefully he's able to join us today. One of them was the hand warmer video, which I've, in my communication with Robert Hollingsworth through email, he's told me a lot about his use of hand warmers in the wintertime. So it was very interesting to watch that because I haven't gotten around to getting one. I've had a few over the years. It came in different groups with lighters, but I never tried to use any of them. I should have. Ended up selling them off in different lots. So anyway, the next time I come into possession of one, I'll make a video and just see exactly how they work. But yeah, it's a little bit different setup than what I had imagined. Can't remember. Oh yeah, I chatted with Sean a little bit yesterday. I was cleaning up some, excuse me, cleaning up some notifications and stuff in uh, on the YouTube Studio app, and suddenly it notified me of a comment that Sean had left on a video from almost a year ago. So I apologize. Somebody let me know if the noise in the background is too distracting. Hello, Sean. I was just talking about the notification from yesterday and how YouTube is strange. There was I got another notification this week of a new comment that when I went to um, like it and respond to it or whatever, it didn't. I couldn't. It was telling me it couldn't find it. So somehow, some way, there's times that comments just get lost in the YouTube ether. Good morning, Professor. I was just talking about how I was watching a couple of your videos this morning. The ADHD video and also the hand warmer video. Well, the noise, the reason I apologize, I was just getting literally like 2 minutes before it was time to go live. I'm sitting here and I mean, it's a pretty busy part of town, so you might hear some kind of noise from up on Northwest 23rd Street at any time. And last week we did. Um, but, you know, you also got the leaf blowers and the mowers and all that kind of stuff in a neighborhood like this. But it sounds like somebody's running uh, grinding down a tree stump or something very aggressive and violent in the alley behind me. So I walked out there a while ago, and it's not in the alley behind me. It's actually the next block, catty corner, um, or the next street, and a little bit down the block. So it's strange how things echo through, because from where I'm sitting right here, it sounds like it's literally right in the alley behind me. Cool, 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 cool. Well, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you got your projects all taken care of, Professor. I think that video said it was 6 days ago. Was it more recent than that? I am going to re-wick this lighter. which should make for a pretty suitable demonstration video that I can send to just about anybody that needs to rewick a lighter. Pretty small, fairly small hole that it's coming out of. So we'll see how the wadding is packed in there, how easy or hard it is to get it out. But that's the hardest part, is getting the wadding out. But it definitely, if you watch the video for this lighter, it was lighting and doing great, and then all of a sudden it would light and just start going down immediately, to the point that it didn't have a flame at all. And I think it may have been burning that wick down as it did, which will happen when you get your proper mixture of oxygen and fuel. When that gets thrown off, then that's when you're going to start burning your wick. I don't know what all those variables are. I'm not that intelligent. But I think there's multiple variables that go into it. It's kind of interesting to me. I don't think the Ronson round lighters were built this way, but you can see through there that's actually two pieces that I guess are joined together up here, probably soldered and then like sanded or ground down. Because it looks like there's a gap the entire way. Yeah, you were talking about all the projects you were doing, the book binding or putting it in the binder. Something you were doing for your kids, I think. I can't remember now. Your son, did you mention your son? I was also, my mother had called and said she had a brake light out, so um, I may have gotten distracted there for between those videos. I was looking up how to change the brake light in a Honda Ridgeline, which looks fairly simple. Yeah, I forget also about all, I don't remember what all projects we had talked about on the stream, Professor. That lighter definitely needs to be fueled up. You know, sometimes I had to, oh, this one. I think I fueled this up here on the stream last week, and I don't know, a couple days ago I had to add fuel to it again. Which to me is kind of, you know, I hate overfilling them every single time. But if you don't get it full enough, then it'll be enough for it to light, but you're gonna have to light it or refill it sooner than you normally would have if you'd gotten it completely saturated, you know, to where it's holding everything it possibly can. And when I say that it's holding everything that it possibly can, I mean you're getting that soak to the point. Not that you've got it swimming in it up here, but that you can turn it upside down and it's not just dripping fuel. But for the most part, if you'll fill the lighter perfectly, then it won't drip out. That rayon or organic cotton, whatever you have in there, it will hold that fuel up in there. It may seem kind of like it's defying gravity, but it's not. It's more kind of, I don't know, like Jello or something. You've got enough substance there to hold that fuel. As long as it doesn't weigh so much that you've got so much in there that there's either nowhere for it to go or too much weight for the wadding to hold. I hope that makes sense. Makes perfect sense in my mind. Now, I put some pretty good scratches on this lighter already. It had the zigzag scratch across the top of it. But I put some pretty good wear on it in just the month or two that it's been in my pocket. Brushed chrome, no slashes, vintage look. I think I like it almost better than any of them as far as using it because of the lid. It's easier for me to manipulate this lid than some of these others. Some of these others, the roundness I don't know, maybe it's just because it's different, but it seems to me like it's a little bit more functional. What project is it that you're talking about needs to be stained, Professor? Does carpentry work? Okay, so that was about a 10 count. And that feels pretty heavy with fuel, but there's nothing coming out the wick. So we'll just see how this holds up until next week. I usually fill them more like a 6 count. Oh, that's right, a wooden staff. You know, there were some of those old, I know Ronson made a cane that had a, seems like Dunhill did too. That'd be pretty cool to build your own. Are you talking about something you walk with? Be pretty cool to build your own lighter into it. Good morning, Naphtha. Glad that you have joined us. How are things in Tulsa? Beautiful here in Oklahoma City. On the side of being warm, but we're not going to complain about that. If we get 60 straight days of 100-degree weather, I'm not going to complain about the heat. Yeah, that sounds good enough to me, Professor, about the absorption and surface tension. And you do have the felt pad down here, so I mean there was no fuel that ever hit the table there, and I'm terrible about that. And that was about a 10 count. So I don't know. Maybe I've been under fueling them a little bit. We'll just see how long we get out of this one. Yeah, the 540, man, that's I like it. It's one of my favorites of all the new stuff that I've seen, and at least the ones that went through my hands. I like the orange paisley. I think it was called For Those with Grit, something like that. Good morning, David. Glad that you have joined us. Good to see you in the comments section this week. But of all the new stuff that's gone through my hands, I wasn't really all that tempted to pull out that uh, orange paisley. But from the time that I got the one with the Marlboro Rewards, I really wanted to use it. And then I can't remember. I think they kind of screwed up, but on it was the National Day of the Cowboy, and I think it was on a Saturday, and they'd sent out emails uh, earlier in the week saying there was going to be a big giveaway that weekend. But when I first clicked on it, the link, it didn't work. I got over into my account and there was no option to sign up for this giveaway. And then I finally followed the exact link that they had texted me. And when I did, then it gave me the option to sign up for a free lighter. It didn't tell you what the free lighter was going to be. Um, but anyway, apparently there was a lot of confusion or the link didn't work. And I think they ended up sending a free lighter out to every Marlboro Rewards member, even if it wasn't the Majestic View. But the Majestic Views is what it was supposed to be, apparently. And so when I got that free one from them, then I immediately started using it. That's this one. And I ended up just a month or two ago selling the other one. But yeah, I'm glad to own this one and curious to see exactly how it holds up. There are already a couple of nicks to the finish where you can see the metal through the whatever the wrap application is. But yeah, really cool lighter, and I love to be able to use it. Yeah, it's already felt pretty muggy around here. As we, I guess we hit 90 a few over like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I think it was back in the 80s yesterday. I think it's, I don't know, 70s or 80s today. But all our overnight lows are in the 60s for the foreseeable future, and the highs in the 70s and 80s. So it's all good. Lose the jacket for a while. Let all the allergens get out and about and flowing around, and people get out and about. It's it's a mixed bag, but I'm glad for the warmer weather to be here. Glad you're able to watch on your TV, David. What's up, Shane? Glad that you joined us. How are things in the Pacific Northwest? I went by and bought a cup of coffee this morning, which I never do, but I realized last weekend that the place across the street in Deep Deuce has decaf, and I haven't really done much over here at the place in Mesta Park in so long. I hadn't had big coffee over here, so brought it with me last week and just stopped and bought one this week. but it's not as good as what I do at home. Yeah, highs in the 80s. I think we may have a chance of thunderstorms today. I don't know what's going on this year, but it seems like every Thursday is heightened conditions for thunderstorms and tornadoes. And May is historically the worst month for that kind of weather. So, but I'll still take it over any of the, um, you know, even in the low 60s and high winds is too cool for me. 50s is definitely too cool with any wind. And we've always got some kind of wind, except around sundown. So, Professor, watching your video earlier with the hand warmer, can you extinguish the hand warmer, or once it's lit, it's just lit? Can you? I guess you can deprive it of oxygen. Put it in a bag or something. Yeah, well, I just appreciate that you're here either way, David. We've had other, not during the live streams, but man, I can't remember his name now. It seems like he was actually a kid. When I say a kid, like a 14-year-old kid. Um, but a viewer or subscriber from another country that let me know at one point that he wasn't going to be able to watch from his computer anymore, that he'd be watching from his TV, so he wouldn't be able to comment. And then occasionally he'd pop in and say, "Hey, I'm here on my computer," or "I borrowed a computer." Yeah, I get it. Here where I live, though, it doesn't seem all that bad. Um, over in Midwest City, I never felt real secure because I've seen them cut through there. But historically, I don't know if there's ever been a tornado cut right through Oklahoma City. It's always on the outskirts. But some of those, um, like Moore, obviously is in a place where they get funneled there or something. I don't know if it's the terrain around them or the lack of, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's the heat from the concrete or I don't know. You just don't seem to see tornadoes hit big cities or mountainous places. But there was one that hit Tenkiller last year over on the east side of the lake. Yeah, I was wondering, doesn't it come in a pouch? The Zippo one, it seems like, comes in a pouch. Maybe if you put it in that pouch, is uh, face down, maybe you could snuff it out. I don't know. Did you ever singe anything, uh, like your clothes or anything with it? Just doesn't burn like that, does it? Yeah, I can handle a little bit of rain too, Sean, as long as it's not, as long as it's not, going to contribute to me being cold. But it doesn't seem to be that much of a problem around here. Shane, that's the problem that Shane has with his weather up there is all the rain. But yeah, it's nice and sunny outside right now, and the pool opens at the apartment complex this week. So, and I don't have air condi. I've got a window unit over here, so I can keep it fairly cool if I need to. But for the most part, in the heat of the summer, I'll just be popping in to do what I got to do, and there's plenty of air conditioning in the apartment in Deep Deuce. What do you think that is, though, Shane? I don't remember if we've ever talked about that, but do you think that it's? I mean, obviously there are some places that tornadoes are more prone to than at other places, so it doesn't seem crazy to me. But there's some people when you start talking about the heat of the concrete having some kind of effect, or um, I've especially had some people look at me sideways when I um, put that out there as maybe a factor in it. But I think the terrain could too. Like I said, I don't remember a lot of them hitting mountainous areas. Yeah, there were. If you go back and look at a couple of those videos from last summer when I was doing the green screen, there was some. There were one or two where it was pretty obvious that it was there was no AC in the room. But it just doesn't make sense to air condition um, something that you're not going to take advantage of. To me, or to turn it on just to maybe affect it some point. 5 minutes before you're going to leave anyway. Okay. Yeah, so maybe the pouch is actually designed to kind of take out some of the so you don't have it directly on your hands. Seems like you ought to be able to snuff out the oxygen though, by putting it in a Ziploc. So, Naphtha, do you remember a tornado hitting Tulsa? And when I say Tulsa, I'm talking about downtown Tulsa. Like we've had them up around north, right before you get to Edmond, like around I can't remember the name of it, Frontier City, the theme park. They hit Bethany and Yukon. They hit Moore. They hit um, Midwest City, Del City. They hit all these surrounding areas, but they don't hit the heart of Oklahoma City. Yeah, and I think it kind of, I saw something on the news a while back that they said that Tornado Alley had shifted to the east. I don't know, like through Tennessee or Mississippi, around in there, or Alabama, maybe. I can't remember. I'm not that good with geography. But so, yeah, I don't know. There's obviously different places that are more prone to it. but like I said, there, like that Moore Bridge Creek area got it pretty good there for. I mean, when I say pretty good, may be a bad way to say it. Um, they got more than their fair share for many years there. It seemed like, but it doesn't seem like they've gotten as much here in the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. There were a couple of storm chasers, or maybe it was four storm chasers. It was more than one for sure, that were killed out here. Was it in Yukon or Mustang around there back 2016 or so? Other than that, I don't remember that many or really any that were that serious coming up that normal path, from down around Cache and Frederick and all those places to like up the turnpike or, paralleling that path. Oobla doobla Dylan. Glad that you have joined us. Appreciate your comment on um, last week's live stream, and that lets me know. I didn't see any reason not to leave them up, and so to see that you are actually taking advantage of it and watching them, then I see no reason not to keep doing that. So I appreciate it. Uh, is it Tuesday afternoon where you're at? Still Tuesday morning here. I made a mistake earlier when I first got on and set up the stream and then put out the links on Facebook and Discord by, um, for some reason, it had it set on default for tomorrow, the 10th, and I didn't pay enough attention, so I had to go change that link. But glad that however I screwed up earlier, you all have been able to find it. I've been um, monitoring the stream on my personal account. So I've been seeing how some of those notifications work, and I do get a notification if I don't get on there pretty quick, which usually I get on there pretty quick because I'm trying to make sure that it gets past the ads and everything is going right before I start talking. And so anyway, I've seen those notifications a couple times here over the last couple weeks. Yeah, what Salt Lake City? I know that's a big city. What's it like around there though? Um, Professor, that might have something to do with it. Like I said, I'm not saying that they don't hit Oklahoma City. Um, I mean, there might have been actual sightings of tornadoes in you know. I'm just saying you don't see those huge ones roll right through downtown, and I really don't remember. I don't really remember any that were downtown. But I've only been around for the last 52 years, and paying attention to stuff like this for 40 something of it. So who knows? Yeah, I get it. I know it was. I certainly wouldn't. It wouldn't be my first choice of part of town to move to. If I needed to move back out to the suburbs, I think I would rather go through back to Midwest City. Which there's plenty of them that come through Midwest City. The really bad one back in was that like, whew, way back, like man, I'm trying to remember, in the early 2000s or maybe the late 90s. The one that came through um, Del City, and then the back end of that neighborhood that you used to live in, Shane, over there where Jimmy lived when you first started coming back. That house that he and Kara lived in. I can't remember what year that was, but that was a pretty bad one. But that might be the closest that I can remember one coming to downtown. You know, that wasn't just there's sightings of tornadoes all the time, but I'm talking about one that leaves a path of destruction. Not something that just, hopped down in the intersection and then went back up. Yeah, that might affect it then. I don't know. Um, but there's not a lot around there either, is there? The kind of out there by itself. Of course, if that big a town surely has got to have plenty of suburbs by this point in time, I would think. What kind of motorcycle do you ride, Dylan? I don't know that they hold the exact amount of fuel, and I was talking and didn't count a while ago when I filled this up. So we'll see. May have been just a little bit short. Maybe I didn't get a full 10 seconds in it. But it looked pretty saturated. See if our signals are still. So the Beefeater Gin, Lapert Licores, CA Venezuela. I don't know, that's been at least a month and a half ago now that I fueled it. And this one from our friend Bill Calkins, the USSR lighter. I can't remember if it was Sean or Professor or who suggested that was the case. Or maybe the state of California, but like I said, all the state of California logos that I saw with a bear also had a star up here. So those are still both fueled up. Hello, Hinkson. Glad that you were able to join us today. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know then. But like I said, I definitely don't think that they are are prevalent in mountainous areas, and we don't even really have mountains in Oklahoma. We got some high hills. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've never been a motorcycle guy myself, but my neighbor used to live across the street from me in Midwest City. He had some kind of sport model Harley Davidson. And my dad, when I was a kid, my dad and my uncles, my dad and one particular uncle had matching Yamaha 750s that they used to put their wives on the back of and go to the lake for the weekend and leave us with another aunt and uncle. Had a mini bike when I was a kid. That was pretty fun, but that's about it. That and three wheelers was about as far as my motorcycle type experience went. Yeah, there you go, Shane. Yeah. But Dylan, I think he called that. I think his was called a Sportster. It wasn't like your typical Harley. Uh, the handlebars were different, and it was. I think it leaned forward. I think he leaned forward on it. Yeah, it's funny you say that, Shane. There's a guy I haven't really watched Survivor in a long time, but Elizabeth, my daughter, got me got me curious this time and kept asking me about it, so I'd get over and watch it when I got a chance, and it's been pretty fun again. But there's a guy on Survivor right now that um, that reminds me of Butch. I think this guy. Well, I'm not gonna. I'll leave it at that. You never know who might stumble upon one of these streams. But yeah, this guy reminds me a lot of Butch. So I think I got that was already fueled. I don't remember when I can't remember if I fueled that um, marijuana leaf on the stream last week or not. Definitely didn't fuel that one, and it's suffering from some vapor lock. This one, I think I got that to the saturation point, about as full as you can get it without it being overfilled while ago. So I'm kind of curious to see. I'll use it this week and we'll see exactly how it holds up. Got the stump grinder back at work again, or whatever that is. Very strange phenomenon. It sounds like it's back here at my left ear by the way that it's bouncing through the alley here. Yes, I believe he is, Shane. Last I heard, oh no, I take that back. I take that back. He had opened up one out in El Reno, and that one had not made it, and then he'd gone back to Shawnee where he was working with his dad, and I think maybe even it may have been when his dad passed that the business ended up failing. So yeah, he worked for FedEx for a couple of years while he was going to school to be a aircraft mechanic. And last I heard, he had graduated that, and he's now an aircraft mechanic. But it doesn't seem like he was hired at Tinker. I can't remember if it was. I don't remember. Boeing maybe. I can't remember. So yeah, no, he's not in the trailer business anymore, for sure. Interesting fella, though. Yeah, I liked both of them. Um, but well, I mean, truth is, he was as big a drunk as I was. So you know, no matter how good a guy he is or was, if he was a drunk, then at times he was annoying. So he was a He was an interesting character though, and definitely fun at times. Have you seen anything lately from Mr. Caputo, Shay? I thought about him. I think about him every day. I pray for him every day. Um, but I hadn't seen him post anything lately. I'm definitely not to the level that he used to. But I think Facebook's algorithm has gotten pretty good at knowing. It just doesn't show me a lot of stuff, so that's why I wondered. So, what you guys see my carry lighters out here, at least the ones that are in the current rotation. I haven't filled the park lighter up recently, but it's in my rotation of table lighters that I will fill up. And these two, and then these two have been what I've been carrying. I took this one out. That's what it was. I took this out later in the week. Took this out for an article that I wrote. Um, for a story that I wrote about a trip to the dispensary, a fictional story. But anyway, you can read that over at the website. That's when I filled that up last week. Um, so that definitely wasn't on Tuesday. But once I got it out, then that, I'll end up putting one of these two back up, or maybe both, and grab this one this morning too. I like this old Storm King. Maybe a little bit more prone to vapor lock than some of the Zippos, but if you can put up with it being a little bit more volatile. It's a good, dependable lighter. Yeah, I don't know what that was. The grinder was going again back, or like I said, it's actually catty corner across the street, but it's echoing into the alley behind me. But there was something just out on 23rd as well, Sean. Yeah, that for me to get that website to um, be as successful as I hope it to be, then I need to be publishing content to it on a regular basis. And that's one of the ideas that I'd come up with a while back, was writing fiction stories, and there's definitely some autobiographical elements to the character Elston, but I wouldn't read into everything that Knucklehead might do being exactly something that I've done, but might be some pretty close similarities. Oh, I got you, Sean. You saying that the microphone picked up on some crackling or something? I didn't even think about that. So has trying to remember, did ZF77 do a uh, live stream this past weekend? Anybody attend if he did? I know that John Roth of J-Row Lights has been promoting over on Zippo Addicts, maybe some of the other Facebook groups, that he's going to be doing a giveaway. He may have already done it. I don't know. But if he has or he hadn't, you might get over and check him out anyway. Subscribe to his channel. He's I believe either just passed or about to pass that 1,000 subscription threshold. So makes a lot of good, informative um, Zippo content. Some old stuff, some new stuff, a lot of the, current like collectible of the year and some of the higher end collectible stuff. Stuff that I really think is what's keeping Zippo afloat. Strange. Just doesn't seem like very many people at all use petrol lighters, but man, that company sells a lot of lighters that never even get broke open. Yeah, Sean, the microphone might be better quality than I thought, or or worse. I don't know. What was excuse me, Dylan? What was going on the ZF77 stream? Does he have a a project going on, or just sitting around talking like we're doing here? Yeah, I don't know, Sean. Your time zone might. He does his usually around 8, 9 o'clock Friday and Saturday nights. So maybe that's at a time that's in the middle of the night for you or something. I don't know, but it's definitely worth checking out if you go over and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell and tell it to send you all notifications. I'm still not convinced that even if you do that, that it'll send you every notification right off the bat, but maybe it's worth a try. It's the best that I know that you can do to assure that you're going to get all the notifications. Yeah, so 2 a.m. your time, that's probably what it is. So has he been doing any other customs lately or anything like that, Dylan? I heard him say the last time that I was on there, able to watch. I can't remember whether I was able to comment that night or not, but he was mentioned the. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce the word. Is it stippling or stimpling? That he wasn't doing that anymore. I thought that was one of the cooler things I'd seen. Made a really cool texture on some of those lighters. Yeah, there you go. And I don't know, Professor, It might do. It might be a little bit different depending on how my upload schedule is. So I don't know. Maybe it let people know quicker when I was uploading every day of the week. Maybe not. But now, it's. I still, when I put one up, I put it up at 8 a.m. on a weekday. But uh, I don't have videos going up every day of the week. Weekdays now, like I used to. Yeah, professor says that he didn't get the notification for the last video until about 20 minutes after it had gone up. And I think that's why I've wondered, because I know over the years, um, 2 a.m. pipe on the patio, ZF77, ZF77 outdoors, Comrade T-Man, trying to remember who else. There's plenty of other stuff I watch on YouTube. It's just not all related. Some of it's just personal entertainment. Comedians interviewing each other on podcasts and stuff like that. But anyway, like I said, I've got enough of those notifications where I get the notification, immediately click on it, and the video was published the day before. And I'm a subscriber and full bell on this channel, so it's a little unfortunate, but whatever. So, I can't even remember when I filled that one. I filled this one on Tuesday, I think. Or, yeah, no, Friday morning. Uh, Friday morning. It was when I published a story about Elston going to the dispensary. So you can see that one still got some vapor lock issues. And I just refilled this one this morning before the live stream, so that I had something to light up with. And really just realized how much wear I've put on this already. Light's terrible in here. Well, maybe not the light. It's things have gotten moved around over time, and it's hard to get a good angle where you can really see the blemishes. So, talking about ZF77's stream. I can't remember whether J-Ro did a stream or if he was just promoting the giveaway when he got to 1,000 subscribers. But like I said, you ought to go follow his, subscribe, whatever you call it. Subscribe to J-Ro Lights. And last week Zippo Lions Den was with us. He said he was thinking about doing um, some live streams, but I hadn't seen one from him yet. Yeah, this will be a fun little project here. And I'm probably going to do as soon as we get done. Probably have that video here in a day or two. What's up, Scott? Is this Scott Johnson from way back? Or just a similar name? Well, that is too funny, man. So, I don't know if Shane's still with us or not, but just to let the rest of you know, that makes, Scott, you went to Barnes, didn't you? Did we go that far back? Probably known Scott since I was, I don't know, 11 years old or so. That's what I thought. My memory is not always so uh, trustworthy these days, but so I didn't want to assume. But and you know, I only spent 1 year there, where you guys were. I know Shane was at least longer than my 1 year. You see this screw, it's taken me a minute to get that back threaded, and that's kind of a common problem that you'll have with some of these Japanese made cheaper lighters. I mean, it's perfectly fine, but you could just get it cross threaded much easier than you would with Ronson or Evans or any of the better quality, more well known lighters. Anyway, that's the project I'm going to do later in the afternoon. Dig all the wadding out so we can get the wick replaced. And like I was saying earlier, that'll give me a good video that I can send, kind of a generic video, just showing you it doesn't really matter what the name is on it. The principles are all the same. Pretty much you can follow along with the demonstration of rewicking this closed tank automatic lighter, and the automatic part of it really isn't even relevant to the point of rewicking it, but just mentioning all the similarities. You know, it shouldn't matter whether it says Albert or, you know, all the other, what, Penguin or the million other Japanese made brands or Ronson, or if you put the wick down the chimney of one of them and drug it out the other end, then it's the same principles on any of them. But, you know, that's just, it's not something I sit at home at night and um, stew about or anything, because I'm always glad to make these videos when I have that brand of lighter to work on. But I just want to make sure everybody understands that, um, you know, you can take the instruction from a lighter of a different brand, most likely, and accomplish exactly. You know, a while ago when I was trying to figure out how to change my mother's brake lights, I searched YouTube for 2014 Ridgeline brake light replacement. Um, and it's greatly helpful to me that I was able to find somebody doing that on a 2014 Ridgeline so that I know exactly what to do. But that's not necessary with these little machines. They're not that complex. So anyway, that will be the project for today, and not necessarily just that simple, you know, with my hands being in the shape they are and going numb so fast. But at least it's not a ton of wadding that's going to have to be dug out of there. At least it's not a Queen Anne or something like that. into third grade. For Shane, and Scott came in the fourth. So then I would have come the next year because when you guys were in the fifth grade, I would have been in the sixth grade. And we came in the summer. We had lived in Del City up to that point, and my parents bought 5 acres out there at 74th and Anderson Road, and we spent that summer. We moved at some point during the summer, maybe late in the springs when they started poured the concrete for the pad to put the trailer on, and yeah, it was. I wasn't a very social kid, so it wasn't all great for me, or at least from my perspective when it happened. I was glad to move out to the country, and then it turned out, as far as socially and everything else, the sports that I was able to play in high school, and it worked out great. It was way better than it probably ever would have been in Del City, and yeah, lifelong friends, people that I've known, knew before then, just at least in passing because we all played against each other in sports at younger ages, but um, definitely knew pretty much all of my closest friends now by the time I was 11 years old. Well, yeah, I wasn't, I was a chubby little kid, Shane, that wasn't very athletic. And if it hadn't been for Mr. Richardson, I probably never would have played football again. I played in fourth grade, and the coaches, they didn't have any more idea what they were doing than I did. And, you know, I, I didn't know anything about football at that point. Um, we'd played baseball since we were in kindergarten or so, and Dad was always one of our coaches. Sometimes there was one year that Mom was my coach, and so we knew a lot about baseball by that point, and I wasn't any good at it either. But yeah, fourth grade football experience was not good. So Mr. Richardson convincing me to play football in sixth grade, and then, like I said, that's where I know you and Matt and Jeff and John. John was actually my first friend that summer before he was the one I got to know the best, the quickest, because he was always with Mr. Richardson. Mr. Richardson showed up to take us fishing. John was with him. So, yeah. And I probably missed one of Brandel. Uh, yeah. And, although Brandel ended up being one of my best friends, I didn't know Brandel all that well until we were in junior high. That core group of friends that we ended up being in high school, that wasn't really that congealed at that young age. Whatever, whatever. Man, back when the alcohol flowed freely down my throat, I remember I was getting in an argument over at Henry Hudson's in Midwest City about that. I'm not going to. I'm not even going to dignify it. I think you don't remember. I wasn't very big, and yeah, I was strong for only being 5'8" and 160 pounds, but I pretty much got by on my speed. And I know you did too, but we played much different positions. Yeah, you got me defending myself here. Yeah, I've really enjoyed over the years. It's been a while, and I don't know. Surely he's not still posting them, and I just don't see it. Like I said, since the whole Trump getting voted out of office, the Facebook wall just now it's just populated by lighter group posts and my kids and grandkids. Um, I just don't see that many personal posts from my Facebook friends. But one thing that I really used to enjoy was Scott posting himself sitting there in his living room playing his guitar and singing. Um, yeah, I don't know if you're still doing that, Scott, but if you're not, you should get back at it. If you are, then I need to get over there and check it out. You ought to create a YouTube channel for that, Scott. I'll watch that. I'll watch every video you put up. Oh boy. Shane, that might have ended our friendship back in that Henry Hudson's conversation. That's funny. And you know I love Jay. I wonder how's Jay's son doing? He's in college now, isn't he? You ever play anywhere here around Midtown, Bricktown, Uptown, Scott? Well, Jamie keeps showing me these uh, listings when comedians would come to town. Like they're going to be at the Criterion and this and that, um, and then I suggest, all right, well, and then it's like as soon as I commit to it, she's still leery about being in crowds and indoors. Pretty much got her convinced to go to the zoo. But yeah, man, It's been a long time since I've been out to see music. I'd love to get out and see some music. Yeah, and I think part of it is because of her job, Shane. She had to give up the mask uh, before she really wanted to because she felt like there might be political implications. So I think it's just the fact that she feels like she's been so compromised at work that you know she feels like she's got to be ultra. But yeah, she hadn't been anywhere like that. Um, to church a few times is about the biggest crowd she's been in. Yeah, it's so crazy. I still don't even. I see stuff about the people that are worried about the vaccination, and that'll worry me. That seems like something I ought to be paying attention to. Um, but then you see the numbers that they show of, I mean, there's still around here in excess of 50 people a day dying from COVID. Or maybe that's a weekly report. Whatever it is, that number they put up, it's like over 50, like on a consistent basis. And I don't remember the last time, I mean, I know people that have had it, but I don't remember the last time that I knew somebody that killed. And it seems like still a pretty high number of people that are being killed. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about it either. But I would definitely, you know, I'd love to go see Scott for one thing. And but I've been the one that was going shopping the whole time too. you know, when we were making masks before, when they were telling us that you didn't need a mask, leave that to the professionals and all that. So I've been in certain positions that she hasn't. Um, and then, it's also been a little bit different with like taking care of my granddaughter at times because, if they need somebody to watch her and she's sick, it doesn't matter if she's exposing me or not. If they need me, then I'm, you know. And Jamie's pretty much the same way with that too. She hasn't stayed away from her because she was sick, but still not as, I don't think, as open to. But I'll tell you, I went to the arts festival a few times. Whenever that was, a couple weeks ago, but was going to meet my mom and niece down there, and that Sunday, I guess because it had rained so much all week, and people had been kept away from it. It was more crowd than I wanted to wade through, and that was outdoors. But that wasn't really about the virus. That's just too many people for my liking. So how's your health, Scott? Are you good? It's officially over in 2 days, huh? I wasn't aware of that. We think of we haven't heard from our friend Eastwa Dune Flam this week. That's another person that you should get out and subscribe to their channel if you haven't already. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Shane. Who's Pepper? Hey, yeah, I I don't know. I don't partake quite as much as I was just I don't know until a few months ago. I got sick for a few days, and then my tolerance went down considerably, and so I don't know. Kind of just been managing that. So these days I don't usually till really late in the day. Um, but yeah, that's certainly worse ways to treat those problems, Scott. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of pain that gets drank away. Like without people realizing why they're drinking. But I can remember at times having pain so bad, like um, sciatic nerve pain, and literally, I mean, I was going to drink myself there anyway, but doing it with the purpose, um, because getting drunk definitely helped that pain. Yeah, I keep Professor. I keep trying to keep up with those, and I did get a notification for one of Eastwa's Instagram posts this week, and so and I don't know if that's the first one I've gotten or just the first one that I noticed and was able to click on before it disappeared into the million others. But I also saw some of his maybe a new YouTube video. I can't remember, but definitely he's still publishing pretty regular on um, TikTok, and he's put up some kind of some list or like where he'll put up 10 different lighters from the last, or one from each decade, since like the 1900, 1910, whenever lighters became prevalent. And that's something else. There's a new group on uh, Facebook called Vintage Lighters and Matches, I think it is. Hopefully somebody will look it up and confirm that and tell me, yeah, that's it. But it's when I joined the group last night, there were only like 20 members in it at that point. But it's the moderator or administrator, or whatever, for that group is a guy named Tom O'Key, who's kind of a lighter historian, um, and is also interested in a lot of older stuff than most of us would even consider as lighters. And so I'm sure that's part of the match, is part of it. But anyway, if you're a fan of the Facebook lighter groups, that's a new one that you need to go join. Is Vintage Lighters and Matches. And I think it says basically, I think it said from 1910 or maybe 1900, somewhere around there, to present. Or maybe it had a cutoff date. I can't remember. I just remember the first date being 1900 something. Yeah, numb the pain, Sean. I did it to disastrous effects for about 18 years straight. It's crazy. You hear people talk about people like pickling their liver. I feel like I pickled my brain in that time. Like, the reason that should have been there was floating off with the alcohol somewhere. Made a lot of stupid decisions. Thousand people a week are dying. Well, yeah, it's definitely a pretty small. Um, so, are you saying then, Shane, that you think you literally believe it's over? You're not worried about it anymore? I mean, that was less than a year ago that you were here, and I tested positive right before you got here, and so we had to hold off. I was going to go to Dallas with you, and I ended up not seeing you until a day or two before you left. But if you've gotten to that point, I'm not doubting you. I'm not telling you you're crazy. I'm just curious. I value your opinion. That's why I'm asking. Yeah, that's what I don't know. I mean, this whole somebody commented about the TikTok ban last week. I can't remember who the user was, or I'd give them credit. Um, but I don't know what's going on. I'm not buying into anything about. I'm not worried about the Chinese government stealing whatever. Um, you know, I've kind of already assumed whatever somebody had. It's like what do you call it? The geodata or metadata in a picture, um, or from the digital file that contains a photo. I've always assumed that there was all kinds of information out there that. So I don't know. But anyway, unfortunately, there is this thing where they're trying to ban TikTok, or you know, And so I don't know. It just kind of sucks that at least a good number of the American population has already had their access to it, um, blocked, or they'll get in trouble if they're found out. I don't know. Yeah, it is a vicious cycle, Sean. It is terrible. But yes, by God's grace, I woke up. Um, you know, yeah, I just don't know whatever. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, Sean says he's had COVID 3 times. I tested positive for it once, but I think I had it once back at the beginning too, that I tested negative, and neither time were horrible on me. Um, but I got one of um, well, not to say he was one of my best friends, but a really good friend from high school who then I didn't see him for years. And then around I think it was our 20-year reunion when kind of everybody got on Facebook back in the late 2000 teens or aughts. Um, and I got reacquainted with him. And, should have communicated with him better and more than I did. But, I mean, he was just a really great friend. And, he was stupid about the disease. I mean, flaunting it, no doubt. Um, I mean, he was one of those people on the news the day when they were shutting down St. Patty's Day around here. He's on all the news channels out there standing in line waiting on his turn to be let back in the building because they could only let so many people in at a time. And, was always posting stuff. And, you know, the disease ended up killing him. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think maybe the disease has been somewhat muted, the severity of it. It's spiraled in the right direction for us. But that's just, that's just me talking. I don't know if there's any validity to that. So you're not worried about you're not taking any more jabs, Shane? Are they in Europe? Old Henningsen, did they back during the height of it? Did they give you daily numbers of how many were in the hospital and how many had died? And are they still doing that? I don't know if they're doing that everywhere here, but they're still doing it here in Oklahoma. Gotcha. Now that's been a lot of the concern for me and those around me that seem to treat it, you know, sort of the same way I did. I definitely didn't want to be passing it to any of my family who might be at more risk than I was. So, there's nothing wrong with being careful. No, Shane. I don't think they should. I think they ought to. Why can't they've talked about it from the beginning, selling it to an American company or putting it under some sort of regulatory umbrella that's not China, whatever. Do that. I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, they let the balloon fly all the way across the country before they shot it down, and then last I heard, they still hadn't retrieved all of it from the ocean. When they could have shot that thing down over land and retrieved everything. But anyway, they they need to shut this down, but they can just let that balloon go all the way across the country. That doesn't make any sense. You saying China's trying to control it, Sean, or the government that's trying to shut down TikTok? I'm trying to keep up in the comments here. So since December, they quit giving you guys updates, old Henningsen. So then during the height of it, they did just like they did here, where they were letting you know where they were at as far as capacity and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I try to keep all that political stuff out of my head. You know, it's been nice not getting on Facebook and seeing, what every one of the people that I've known that I've come to know, and some of whom I only know because of the internet, what they think about, all these political things, or especially about who they think the president, or why we should or shouldn't be, you know. I think that those political things, you know, they play out to such minor differences in our actual lives. But yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, I guess it takes a lot sometimes. That thing about that happened in New York, I didn't see that until well, I went to church on Sunday, and the preacher mentioned it, and then I think it was yesterday when I finally no, yeah, yesterday morning was when I finally saw something. I watch the Today Show every day, and I guess this has been going on for a week. I watch the local news, like at 5 in the evening. I catch that, most evenings, and maybe the 10 o'clock news, part of it. But I try to watch the evening news. I try to watch it every day. Sometimes I'm busy. But yeah, man, there's a Christian radio station, which I love a lot of the programs that are on there, but there's also some news programs on there, and they're so far right that it's crazy. Um, it's so political, you know. And I understand it's perfectly fine for Christians to be, serve in government and even have influence over how that is, takes place and is structured and whatever. But I think there's a lot gets done in the name of Christianity in this country that I don't think Jesus would agree with. Yeah, and that's the thing. After they didn't even, I mean, well, they claimed they were aware of it, but and they claimed that it had happened. I forget 2 or 3 times before that at least, um, but it was just never noticed by civilians before. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, they let that thing go all the way across the country before they shot it down. I'm sure their response will be different next time, but I just don't know. I don't know what the whole thing is about TikTok. Like I said, I don't want to get into that. I really don't. I wish it was easier. I mean, everybody that's seen East Wad's videos on YouTube knows how good he is. Um, he's a talented guy, makes clever videos. You know, should be more people watching him. Um, but he's got a great following over there on TikTok. Um, last time I looked, it was like 500,000 people, and his videos get thousands of views instantly. All kinds of engagement, interaction. Um, it's like I said, it's just unfortunate that you know that platform is getting hindered. Oh yeah, they took all that stuff down around here probably a year ago, Professor. At the grocery store and the bank. Yeah, not near as careful as they were. Yeah, I had to take somebody to the emergency room a couple weeks ago and standing there while they were checking in, and I looked around and I said, "Do I need a mask?" And they said no. I thought that was weird. The emergency room even, because every time I've gone to any kind of doctor's appointment, you still had to wear a mask. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Are you talking about all of radio or just the ones that do news, Professor? Yeah, I hope I haven't gotten you too riled up, Sean. Yeah, like I said, that's what I hear on, and like I said, it's a great radio station. I've listened to them over the years. There's a lot of great Christian Bible teaching on that channel. Um, Guys like R.C. Sproul, um, Chuck Swindoll, John MacArthur. Um, anyway, a lot of great teaching on there. But then this news comes on, and it's just so political, or so, yeah, so political, and they're making it sound like it's biblical. But, you know, I don't know where, it's like they take some things too far. What is RT News, Sean? like I said, I watch the Today Show, so I see that kind of news. They kind of got this news they cycle through. I watch the local news. I watch the evening news with Lester Holt. Um, Other than that, whatever I run into on the internet. Russia Today, huh? Very interesting. What do you mean being on a cord? Yes, I agree with you, Naphtha. Are you talking about the Facebook groups or just this little community here on YouTube? But I agree. I think it's fabulous that there are entire groups. There's a Thorns group. There's there's a Dubsky group. There's all kinds of. There's a Japanese superlighter group. Uh, or Omega. I can't remember what it's guy. No, I'm not going to say it. It's a Swedish name or something that I would just screw up. Um, anyway, there's so many groups. The Zippo Addicts is probably the best one. The Zippo Vintage Lighter Deal or No Deal. That's a really good one. Um, there's there's at least a dozen, maybe dozens. I mean, there's a lot between the ashtray groups, lighter groups, the various. I mean, I'm probably a member of at least 10 or 12 Zippo groups. That's what Facebook is good for. I mean, I actually use Facebook now as like a tool. Where used to, I was just sitting there scrolling through. Now I use it when I need to spark interest for an idea for a video or an article or, you know, when I scroll through there, I'm educating myself at times from, like I was telling you, this guy, Tom O'Key, who just started that group. I think it's called Vintage Lighters and Matches. I think that's right. Something like that. Um, but he posted an article, and I assume he had written the article. Maybe not. I don't think it said specifically who wrote it. Yeah, maybe it did have his name. And maybe that he had put it together from information that gathered from his and Judith Sanders' collection, which she's the person that created the OTLS. Anyway, I don't know if Tom has a current affiliation with the OTLS or not, but apparently that's where this Bowers article, that was the address given, that was on the Bowers website. Very interesting history of the company, but he also posts a lot of different videos of lighters and um, oh, like pre-flint or even catalytic. A lot of catalytic lighters lately that I've seen him post pictures of. So there are more of those than I really would have thought, or that I had remembered anyway. So Russia Today has been banned from YouTube. So Sean, you're an English guy watching the Russian Today show. Where do you see Breaking Point, Shane? Is that a YouTube thing? Being on what platform? Yeah, me too. Well, I don't know, man. we got some stuff going on around here with the medical marijuana program that really pisses me off. So, um, yeah, I try. I'm the same way. I mean, if there's something I could do to change it, then I hope I can. I hope I would. But I don't know if there's anything you can do to change any of this stuff. Um, so, I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you to a large degree, Professor. Um, I don't really want to. I don't really want to waste my time with it. I'd much rather just go out for a walk by myself or with one of my loved ones, and you know, go get something to eat. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't need the politics. It's so divisive. Keep leaning way past. I hope it hadn't affected the microphone. Surely somebody would have said something if it had been too bad. But I kept finding myself on the other side of it because I was trying to see the iPad that I'm um, monitoring this from. Oh, you're talking about Discord. Yeah, I'm on Discord. What were you saying about Discord, Shane? That's another group. Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, it works. Just the. I don't know though. There's still certain elements of Discord that I'm confused about. Um, I figured it out enough to be able to post notifications for these streams, and maybe I've posted some links to videos over there at other times. I don't remember, but yeah, I like it. I wish I understood it better. Wow. So that's on Facebook, NAFTA? Yeah, there you go. Scott got it before you did, Shane. Discord. I just can't remember now what you were asking about that in regards to, Shane. You're not worried that that Russian show is showing you some propaganda, Sean? And I'm not saying that they are. I'm just, I kind of assume um, that there's, I mean, I'm not saying there's not propaganda here. There is. But I would think there's just as much of it coming from there. Maybe I've just been trained not to trust the Russians, though. But I'm just kidding around anyway, Sean. Please don't think that I'm going to get offended at anything you say. It's all in good fun. If there's something that we needed to talk about that was serious, I'm glad to do that. Like I said, though, typically the political, it's just, there are some things that I believe strongly about. Um, but, you know, I don't know that we're meant to, have a flag running behind us with every one of those ideas for everybody to know either. What is a ruckus? Is that a go kart? Yeah, like I said, Sean, if you got something you really want to talk about, we can talk about it. It's not going to upset me, but I tend to be like you. I just, you know, I'd rather not talk about it. And I definitely, I've got a friend or two that, man, it's like all they want to talk about. I don't understand that at all. Small little scooter. Okay. What's that? Are you talking about a scooter like that they drive on the people are going down the street on around here? Or are you talking about a little motorcycle? Okay, gotcha, Shay. Okay, gotcha. Okay, Professor says that he recently found a Russian rock band that is themed on their indigenous Siberian peoples. What does that mean? Like like they're dressed like indigenous Siberian peoples? In Mongolia, China? Or am I letting my knowledge of a Chinese menu confuse me? If I can remember where I'm at here. So we're going to rewick that. Got this one refueled. Refueled this one before we started. And also fueled this one, which seems to be calming down from its vapor lock a little bit. So I will probably leave that one. I don't need to have 4 fueled up at a time. Okay, Sean, so is Mongolia actually its own country? Yeah, you make that sound like a bunch of kids getting together in the neighborhood to play a sport. Interesting, Professor. Okay, I thought that's what you meant. What are you what are you asking me if I just asked, Shane? I don't remember asking anything unreasonable or controversial. Yeah, I thought it was part of China. But like I said, I've never been to China, but there's Mongolian beef on every Chinese menu I've ever seen. Yeah, that makes sense now that it must be in the same region. Well, like I said, man, I knew I can deduce certain facts. I knew it had something to do with China, so it didn't surprise me. I know that China and Russia are neighbors, but no, I don't have the entire globe memorized. I did have a few good teachers along the way. Mrs. Adams, mentioned Mr. Richardson earlier, and I'm sure there were some other. Mrs. Richardson, she was a really good teacher. My kindergarten teacher at Dale L was a lady named Mrs. Shipley, and she died the summer after I had her. Um, the next one was I could probably I'm not going to do it, but I could name them off. I think pretty close. But of course, Coach Winkle. I never had Coach Winkle in class. I had Coach Wade in class. I had Coach Moman. You and I had Coach Moman together, didn't we? Math when I was in ninth grade and you were in eighth. Maybe not. Um, but yeah, had some good coaches, some good teachers, and then also had some real turds. Coach Rollins was a good teacher and a coach. Genghis Khan was a Mongolian, Sean. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. No, I wish I had a better knowledge, a better, you know, like general idea. But it's amazing to me, we're all Professor posted a ADHD video, and I commented there that we're all built different, and we are. And it's I guess there's a reason that some of us are prone to have certain knowledge and be better at certain things, and others bend in a different direction, and not always where you might think. So, oh, let me think about it. I can. The eighth grade science teacher that was so proud of his tennis swing. Yeah, wasn't a fan of his. Mrs. Guild. So I have absolutely no problem at all saying her name to the um, what 100 or so people who may end up watching this. Uh, but Mrs. Guild was just a terrible person. And maybe there were things in her life that I wasn't aware of at the time. And I certainly never walked into her class and planned to make her day any harder than it had to be. But it just seemed like she had it out for me. To the point that I can't even remember what I'd done now, but she thought she caught me cheating one day. and literally burst through the room to get the piece of paper that she thought I was using to cheat. And I mean, it was nothing, and no apology or anything. Just a just a bad person, or at least, like I said, I don't know what was going on in her life. Maybe her husband was a butthole. Maybe she was, maybe her kids weren't appreciative. I don't know, but she certainly didn't enjoy her job, which I was in the same boat for a long time. But I didn't take it out. I never, uh, kept somebody's mail from being delivered because I didn't want to be there. And tried to have a good time with the people that I was working with, which was, you know, sometimes possible, but other times, yeah, didn't matter who you were working with. It was just miserable. But again, I tried not to make their day any worse. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remember to check out that news too. I'm I'm not trying to be closed-minded, Sean. Like I said, normally I don't even like search out. I just I don't know. I watch what's familiar to me. I know that. Um, well, I just feel like Fox is way too far. It's just they're going to tell that audience what they want to hear. The others, I think, I'm not saying it's all good or all even leaning in the same direction, but I think you got a better chance. Um, I don't know. Maybe CNN's just as bad as Fox. I've never really watched CNN, but seems like anything big that happens, I usually find out about it from watching the Today Show or the evening news with Lester Holt. That's all I'm saying. But I didn't know about that thing in New York about that guy getting choked out on the subway. I didn't know about that until yesterday. Well, I didn't. I knew about it because the preacher mentioned it on Sunday, but I didn't see it on the news until um, yesterday, and that was, I think, over a week after since it had happened. I just remembered. Seems like at one point, I don't know if Scott's still with us, but it seems like at one point Scott was uh, Scott was one of those people that would post some pro-Trump stuff on Facebook. Man, that's what I don't miss. If we could never again on Facebook see somebody touting a political candidate or what their guy did, or if we could just never see that again, that would be fine with me. Woofley. Um, Trying to remember. Is he the one that's in the House of Representatives now? I think he was a decent teacher. I don't remember him being bad, and I can't remember what I had him for though. The most enthusiastic, and it wasn't even about his teaching. It was more him as a coach. Is when Coach Mays showed up between uh, my eighth and ninth grade year. Um, from the very, I remember Matt Grimes and I met him together. And from that point forward, I mean, he was so excited to coach football at that level. It was like he had his dream job. It was really fun to play for him that year because he had so much fun. We never won anything, and I think we were 3-6 that year. We were terrible. terrible records in junior high. But yeah, with him being the offensive coach in the ninth grade, man, it was a fun year. I don't know if I ever played for somebody that was so enthusiastic. And oh man, I can't remember his name right now. My son played for his brother at Midwest City, obviously much later. Um, who was my defensive ends coach that didn't actually teach our senior year? He was a great coach too. He and Winkle both. Yeah, Coach Wall. Coach Wall was a great coach. Yeah, they had us so prepared, man. It was you hear people talk about um, you know, like playing a game like chess and somebody being so many moves ahead. That's what it felt like that year. My senior year playing for it was Winkle and Wall basically collaborating. We did all our work together, the linebackers and defensive ends. And man, I mean, every play when they lined up, we knew what the play was. If it wasn't that play, then we knew what the next play was. We were going to be able to read it every time. It was unbelievable. It really was. But like I said, they're not all those coaches from. Mr. Richardson was a great guy, but I don't know what kind of strategist he was as a football coach, or at that point he's just trying to keep kids with their helmet on right and moving in the right direction. But he was for what he did. He was a great coach. But there were others along the way. Like I said, Coach Mays. He made the game a lot more understandable too. But for me on defense that year, it was well. And keep in mind when I was playing defensive end. But when I spent those few games back at strong safety, that it was a lot harder to read that game. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I got you, Sean. Um, and especially off of uh, the political stuff. He was a great teacher, Shane. The geometry teacher, Melton. Um, he that is the only math class I ever understood. Apparently, there's a truck back in the alley now. The stream may die here in a minute. I don't have any way to plug in back here, and I was given a warning a few minutes ago. Yes, Melton was a great teacher. I understood geometry, you know, from the get go, and I didn't understand any of those other algebra. I never understood algebra. I don't know how I kept moving to the next level. You can show it to me, and it won't make any sense to me. But yeah, that's a good point. Because Jay definitely wasn't absorbing. Well, Jay wasn't spending the time with Wall and Winkle, just like you weren't. You were spending your time with Pebworth. I'm telling you, the ends and the linebackers, those two coaches had us so prepared. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, man, I haven't seen Jeff in forever. I can't remember him ever showing up at any of the reunions. I used to see his dad um, at the post office, and he would keep me updated on what was going on with him and Sharon. Jeff was coaching down in Texas, the last I heard. And Meli always mentions. Jeff, so does Ed, but I haven't talked to either of them in a good while now. Years. Yeah, Jeff was a good guy. Seemed like every time I was over at Ed's, Jeff was always showing up. And I really enjoyed watching. I enjoyed watching Jeff play at OU, and then even what little bit we were able to see here when he was in the pros. Really, it was just watching the box scores back then. My phone is about to die. Gave me a message a few minutes ago, so I'm going to go ahead and end this. I appreciate all you guys showing up, and yeah, Scott, if you're listening or if you watch later, we need to figure out time to get together and definitely let me know if you're playing around here somewhere. I'd like to come see you. And anyway, I'll see everybody else, or everybody, hopefully Scott included, next week. Hopefully East Wa has some videos he's going to post, and hopefully we'll see him throughout the week. And the others that we missed, like Azriel and Gnarly News, and I'm drawing a blank right now as I'm staring out the window and listening to the noise in the alley behind me. So I will see you guys next week. Yeah, there you go, Scott. Great to have you. And like I said, I try to do it every Tuesday at 10 a.m. our time. So, Professor, Sean, Naphtha, if I missed anything on the, let's see here. What is a mosh pit? Are you talking about it at a concert, Naphtha? Yeah, I remember. I remember Shane will know probably who I'm talking about. Scott might too, even without me saying their name. But I remember my brother and I running into one of our high school or junior high coaches at an OU game one time, and he was just sloshed. So it may be that kind of. Is that what you're talking about? You saw a teacher out in a social setting. No, not at all, Shade. It was good talking to you and Sean. Scott, I meant, and Sean. I was looking at Sean and Professor, and like I said, Naphtha. We did a Zippo Daily Fix. We missed him again this week, and I think he's been with us most of the last several. And but there were several others. Dylan DePie was here. Anyway, hopefully everybody will converge here next week. So see if we got enough battery to get a lighter put out. Until next time.